Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Oakland-Wide meeting for September. My name is Wanda Wilson. I'm with Oakland Planning and Development. We're hosting the meeting tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We have two presentations on our agenda tonight. We'll have a presentation from UPMC about signage on their Oakland campus, and the Carnegie Library as well. We'll be presenting plans for banners before they go to Art Commission. And then any residents who would like to remain for a discussion, kind of picking up where we left off from last week's Let's Talk meeting about zoning, we can continue to do that after the presentations are completed. We'll have a couple of updates and just protocols reminder. We really monitor the chat for input and questions for our presenters. So if you can put your questions in the chat, I will then verbalize those for our presenters to answer. And we can have your engagement and questions that way. We'll allow, if there's anybody just on phone only, an opportunity for those folks to be able to ask a question of the presenters when the time comes for that. A couple of updates from OPDC. We have a program to help Black families purchase homes in the Community Land Trust. Our application is opening for that on Wednesday, October 6th at noon. So if folks are, if you know of somebody maybe renting in the neighborhood right now who's interested in buying a Community Land Trust home, this is a really great opportunity to get some additional cash assistance to be able to achieve home ownership, and also a lot of financial counseling, home buyer education, and a very well-rounded program to prepare for home ownership. And we're also coordinating access to food assistance for anyone in the neighborhood who needs that. It's Nick on my staff. His number is there. It's extension 216 at our main number. Is a number to call for if you have a neighbor or somebody that you know who would need that service. Next slide. Next month, our Let's Talk meeting is Wednesday, October 20th at 6 p.m. And our Oakland-Wide meeting next month, instead of hosting our regular meeting the way we are tonight, the Department of City Planning will host a meeting, and OPDC is collaborating with the Squirrel Hill Urban Coalition for a development activities meeting on the Carnegie Mellon Institutional Master Plan, which is a required development activities meeting before that plan is presented to the Planning Commission. So look out for, we'll still be circulating the information about that, and it will be held virtually as well. So, but it's at the same time as our Oakland-Wide would be, but it's actually the development activities meeting for the master plan. So we'll go to our first presenter now. Michelle Weltner is project manager at UPMC, who will present. And Michelle, if you could, and any other presenters that you'll be introducing, we do encourage presenters to turn on your video and to obviously unmute. It's easier for people to follow your presentation if we can actually see you speaking. So sure. Welcome, Michelle, and you can introduce yourself and go ahead with your presentation.
Hi, I'm Michelle Weltner. I'm UPMC project manager. I am managing the campus-wide redesign and replacement of all signages in the Oakland campus. It has been going on for quite a while now, probably about a year, and now we're to the point where we have documents that we can share with everyone that's pretty finite in what we have in copy and methodology. So I just wanted to share this document with you as we go through. If you have any questions, just let me know. So basically, if you know, and this is a pretty big document, so I'll try and go through peruse it. I think you get an idea of the visual part of it all. But basically, as you know, Oakland is a very congested complex here area, and there are quite a few facilities here. So what we want to do is similar to an airport. We want to kind of introduce a portal wayfinding path. So we've split up the streets. DeSoto Street would be like a portal A. In the future, portal B will be the drive that is currently that wraps you around Falk to the back where the valet is. Portal C would be Lothrop. Portal D is Dara, and then portal E is basically Fifth Avenue in front of Kaufman, and gets you the Kaufman garage. So this way, if we can do the signs and communicate between our website communications pre-arrival and the signage on site, hopefully it will alleviate any patient stress getting to their appointments and getting to them on time. So hopefully this signage being updated will help that. Plus the look of Oakland, as you know now, if you're anywhere around Oakland, there's probably about 3 or 4 generations of signs there spanning over probably about 20 years. So this will be a much needed facelift. So basically wayfinding, facelift, ease patient stress getting to appointments. Next slide, please. This just basically shows a change in wayfinding once a new tower is installed. Well, this is actually 2022. This just shows an opening of Lothrop Street up top. You can go to the next slide. And this is the 2026 plan when the new tower is constructed, how all the portals will be shown. Portal B won't be in the direction until later on. We'll have temporary signs while construction is going on. But once again, this is the portal methodology. So if someone's going to Western Site, hopefully they'd be directed to Portal A, and then they'll see the signs on site. It'll get them to the front door. Next slide, please. Next. These are just location plans. Okay, so basically what I have here is I'm just showing a representation of how you would see it if you were approaching Fifth Avenue. If you were going down Fifth Avenue, made a right and went up, and Western Site was your destination. So you'll see all the signs in the path, and this will give you a good idea of what the signs will look like. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the corner of DeSoto and Fifth. Currently on the left, that's the current sign. We will be refacing it, and just that we won't be pulling out the existing sign, we'll just be refacing the sign to look like this, and you'll have the portal designation, the emergency direction, Western Psych, along with the associated code blocks below. So you'll be looking for the code blocks. So the A is the portal, C is the portal, and then the destination. Next slide. Thank you. And then if you go up the hill, this will be refaced as well. Next slide. Once you come to the corner of O'Hara and DeSoto, this would be the main sign here to get you the Western Psych main entrance and parking. And then to the right would be Western Psych ambulances and receiving. So as you can see, the one on the left side, to the left on that previous slide, sorry, that's an older generation sign. That's probably 20 years old branding, faded signs, patched over. So this will basically really make it coordinate. You'll see the signs, you'll recognize it. You'll see the purple, you'll know that you're at your destination. Next slide, thank you. Well, this one got a little bit, when you save the PDF down, I apologize. When you save the PDF down, sometimes to save space, it does contort all the copy. And I apologize for that. But this would be at the main entrance. You'll have the A portal designating, and then this is as you go further up to get to the garage, you'll have the A portal, and that's where you know where to park. Next slide. And same reinforced once again on the wall. And here as well, this is the building main entrance. You'll have the A icon main entrance. We also plan to clean the facades of the buildings, UPMC entrances and garage entrances. So this will all be cleaned up. This doesn't look too pretty now, but we will be power washing before we put the signs on, cleaning up the facades and entrances, and then putting the signs up. Thank you. Next slide. And this once again would be code block C. You're going down 5th Avenue. You make the right up Lothrop, sorry, and this will get you to Presby and the parking garage, and known as the C portal. So as you're going down 5th, you would see this sign. Next slide. And then as you come down 5th, you will see Lothrop, corner of Lothrop. This is the existing sign to the left. To the right, you'll have the code signs, code designation on the top, C portal, C Presby, and then straight ahead for Montefiore Kaufman building. Next slide. And then as you go up the hill, I believe there's construction going on there now. So this sign I don't believe exists right now, but we'll be replacing this sign with a post and panel sign. Basically, once again, we're following the code block for the portal designations to get to the main destination, Presbyterian. And then also you have the Falk Medical Building to the right and emergency. Next slide. This is the corner of Victoria and Lothrop. Previous slide, left photo is an older sign. Once again, a different style sign. To the right, we want to make it a little bit larger to be viewed as you're going up. Lothrop, this is a highly congested intersection. Hopefully to make it clear, make your decision. You're not sitting there, so hopefully this is more visible will confirm where you need to go. Once again, this is basically for the C portal destinations. Main entrance sign, existing, very old, faded, and we're going to replace it. Where we're going to keep the foundations. We're trying to conserve money, and this one we're going to try and keep the foundation and just basically reface the sign, put a new cabinet up top, make it more clear that this is the main entrance and the address. Entrance sign, basically just replacing letters. Next slide. As you go further up, replacing the sign, the monument sign there. Once again, different style, different copy size, everything. Make it nice and consistent and recognizable as you approach. Next slide, please. Just to confirm that this is the entrance sign, entrance area, the proper entrance. Next slide. Replacing parking signs. Once again, an older sign to the left, and we're going to replace it with a portal identifier saying this is Presby parking, so you know you've arrived at the parking. Next slide. And this is just a view of what it will look like. Next slide. This is the top. So once again, this one on the right is just going to be a temporary overlay until construction opens up Lothrop. To the right shows the 2022 layout. So once you get to the top of Lothrop, you'll know to go right to Western Psych, A Icon, left everywhere else. And then to continue that path to the Terrace Street entrance to the Presby garage, you'll see the C Icon. And then that's just the view. Next slide. So if you want to just, if you feel free just to peruse through, you kind of get the gist of it. This is 5th Avenue. This shows you another path up to the Montefiore main entrance. Once again, we'll start you back at the corner. You go through, you're following the icons. So once again, with all the consistency of the signs, and I apologize for the saving of the PDF not looking right, but with the consistency of all the look of the signs and the icon codes and the color codes, we're hoping that this really helps with patient wayfinding and traffic. This next path. And we are working with the design firm Exit Design, and they've been working with us now for over 3 years in improving wayfinding in campuses throughout the system. So myself, I've rebranded a few hospitals already utilizing them, and I think it has improved wayfinding. We're using this code block methodology to help people find the main entrances or medical buildings or whatever may be on campus. So we're just basically taking that methodology, bringing it to a bigger campus, and trying to improve patient traffic, visitor traffic, traffic in general, to get you to your destination, so there's less stress when you're coming down to a congested campus like this is. Anything we can do to ease that is a benefit for everyone. So I appreciate your time and allowing me to share this with you. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and let me know. And
well, we're going to take them in the chat. So if people could type a question in the chat, that's the method that we'll use for if people have questions. I could start with one. Do you have a time frame for this, and do you need an approval process? Like, does the city have to approve any of this signage?
So yes, so we're hoping to start installations of signage in a couple months. We do have to go through a review. I have shared this with other groups. OBID leadership, obviously, we've shared this with Pitt. We have presented this to the city as a package. We've been working on with the city for about 6 months now. We've gone through variance process to get variance approval. We're still waiting that. The permitting process takes time. So yes, we have reviewed with some community groups, this being one of the last. We have reviewed with zoning, gone through variances. Next, we'll have to go through permits for permitting for all the signs. So that's the process. Hopefully early next year we'll be completed with installation of all the signs.
There's one question about, whether the directions to the emergency room need to be bigger.
Basically, they have been improved based on what the signs used to be. You see the red, you automatically tied in with the sign, with it being an emergency. We do have the one sign. Oh, actually, that's the ambulance entrance up on DeSoto. But yeah, this is just what the design is. That's the sign standard for UPMC. They rebranded their exterior sign manual probably about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and they're just starting to implement it. So whether you see it here or you see it at another location, Lidditz, Harrisburg, all the signs will have that same emergency band at the same height. We don't modify that sign band for anything. I believe it currently is 10 inches high, and the copy might be 8 inches high. So visually, it meets all viewing standards.
Okay, well, I don't see any other questions typed in the chat, and I don't see anybody just on phone only. So we'll have this information available on our website if somebody wants to review it again later. Or, somebody who missed the meeting tonight could review it there. So thanks very much for your presentation.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
We'll go to our next presentation, Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. I see we have Ron Graziano here and Sergey Matviev to present. So hi, Ron. You can introduce yourself and anybody else from your team. So you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Sure. Sergey on? Yeah,
I am.
Okay. I'm Ron Graziano. I'm the Director of Facilities Development with the library. And we appreciate you giving us the opportunity to jump onto the agenda a little late in the game. And our presentation will be, I believe, brief. I'll let Sergey start out with the presentation, and then I'll just ad-lib a couple things at the end on why these banners are kind of important to the library. It's a very historic year for us. So thanks for having us, and I'll turn it over to Sergey. He's been filing all the applications for us through One Stop graciously. So go ahead, Sergey.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks everybody for joining in and giving us the opportunity to present to you all this evening. This is all about the main branch over in Oakland on Schenley Drive facing Schenley Plaza. And that property is owned by City of Pittsburgh, which triggers our need to go through a lot of different processes in terms of approvals. And that's part of the, the arrangement of how the libraries were started. And I'm the architect of Logan Architecture, and the company that is going to be installing these, assuming we get approval, is Palmer Products Imaging. Next slide, please. Here's a vicinity map, which basically shows the library, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, and the intersection of Schenley Drive and Schenley Drive Extension, just to the southeast of Schenley Plaza. And that's the promenade, which is tree line, which we're going to be putting most of the banners on. And then there's going to be a few along the public right of way along Schenley Drive going towards the bridge. Next slide, please. The project itself, what's involved is 8 lampposts and installing these double-sided banners. So there's one on each side of each lamppost. Like I said, 5 of them are along Schenley Drive Extension on the promenade, not actually along the vehicular right of way, but the pedestrian promenade. And then 3 of them are actually on the right of way as you get closer to the bridge. The installation that we are seeking to do is a permanent one. And what the library will be doing is changing out banners periodically to announce events. As you know, the library very often has special events throughout the seasons of the year. And so they have a full-time staff of graphic artists who will be designing the banners, and the banners are all their graphics are always composed to reflect diversity, and also, of course, to be artistically engaging. Next slide, please. Here's an aerial of the building, and obviously the red arrow is pointing to that intersection where most of the banner installation is to be concentrated from Schenley Drive to Schenley Drive Extension. Next slide, please. And here are the actual 8 locations that are under consideration right now. Next slide, please. A couple of renderings have been put together to give you an idea of what these banners will look like visually. This is obviously the promenade looking towards 4th Avenue towards the north, just in front of the library steps. Next slide, please. And these are the lampposts that are coming down Schenley Drive going towards the Schenley Bridge. Next slide, please. The initial thought was that they would be 2 foot by 4 foot on each side of the lampposts. We've come to learn that a more common size for these banners, in terms of just a standard, is 2 feet by 6 feet. Actually, we have already appeared before the Art Commission, and one of the commissioners thought that that the banners basically would benefit the design to make them a little bit larger, just because of the significance of the building and its history, and it's a prominent structure, and this particular commissioner felt that a little bit more of a statement would be appropriate. So we probably will be using the standard, which is 2 feet by 6 feet, as per the commissioner's suggestion. Next slide. As we mentioned, we're going through several approval processes. The Art Commission, this development activities meeting, engineer, construction, and Department of Public Works all have to also sign off on these things. As we mentioned earlier, this is going to be a permanent installation as proposed. Currently, we are working towards getting temporary permission just to get this started. But we are hoping to receive approval for permanent installation so that the library can continue to have these these devices to announce events and make the community aware of what's going on in the facility. Next slide. Well, actually, I'm ahead of myself. I should be turning it over to Ron at this point and letting him discuss a little bit about some of the events that the library would like to announce with these. Ron, go ahead.
Thanks, Sergey. So again, originally these signs were intended to be put up a year ago. We were hoping to have these up November 5th of 2020 to celebrate the entire 125th anniversary from November 5th of 2020 till November 5th of 2021. With COVID and the corridor basically shut down with pedestrians, our events have been truncated for quite some time, and we're still going to do something in November, but not as grandiose as what we were planning. So we thought of these banners would be a great way to announce. We currently filed an application, as Sergey mentioned, for temporary installation. It's really not a temporary installation. It's called a 15-day installation. That's the max you're allowed to put up a banner. We applied for those. We have not been approved yet. Once we get approval, we will pick a time that we will be able to have these up for 15 days. That would definitely coincide with November 5th, because we would want them up for that particular day. We then upon your approval or your perusal and approval, we will immediately file for a annual permit, which is a maximum of 12 months. It's quite a hefty permit fee. I believe it's going to cost us $9,000 a year to be able to hold these positions. I know that we can budget, the library can afford to do it this year because we received a grant for this particular project to celebrate the 125th. So while we are saying it's going to be an annual permit, we may forego this permit after 12 months. And as Sergey also mentioned, one of the gentlemen at the Art Commission, I believe his name was Peter Quintanilla, he suggested the 2x6. We're hoping you're receptive to that as well. If you're not, or if there's any fear of the 2x6 versus 2x4, we can certainly live within the 2x4 banner. This was just, like I said, sprung on us last week at the Art Commission that the standard was 2x6, not 2x4, and that they would be more appropriate to the building. I think that's pretty much it. I thank you for your time. If anybody has any questions, Sergey or I will, field the best we can.
So Ron, you did sort of an initial presentation to Art Commission, and then you go back for them to take an action.
Well, we asked for conceptual and final approval. They gave us conceptual and final approval, provided that you folks are satisfied with the design.
Oh, I see.
So I think they probably, we're kind of we're conceptually approved, and if you say yay, we'll be final approved. If you don't, then we'll probably have to go back based on your recommendations or any tweaks.
All right, well, meeting attendees, do you have any feedback? I think I'm not seeing any right now, so I think people probably are pretty satisfied with your presentation.
One of the other things
Kathy, can we go back a couple of slides? Sorry, Ron.
Go ahead.
I don't.
Just while you're flipping back, Wanda, I know that there were 2 or 3 other events that Mike Sears, our communication and creative service manager, said that we would be putting up. One would be a September event where it's called Love Your Library Month in September. It's basically a red sign. It says Love Your Library Month. And the other one, I think everybody in Oakland's familiar with, at least I hope they are, is our summer reading extravaganza. So they are 2 of the other signs we'd be putting up. Obviously, we wouldn't be putting the 125th anniversary back up after this year, but he mentioned one other event that they usually like to advertise. So it's not like it's going to change every month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a question about, that your presentation doesn't include the design of a banner at 6 feet in length, because that was done, that recommendation was made to you after you had already done this presentation and given it to, so meeting attendees need to sort of imagine the longer banner.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we can amend the presentation and send it again, or resend it if it's for the record, if you need it for the record. Again, we didn't know we could even tweak it that quick to get it to you today, because this literally just happened last Wednesday.
Right. Well, the city and art commission are the actual, entities who actually provide approval.
We have to amend our 15-day application. Actually has to be amended with Domi, because we filed that a few weeks ago also, and that's still showing a 2x4. So we have to go back and amend that as well, if it's acceptable to all the parties.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly post updated drawings on the website, the project page for this project, so that people can see it.
Okay.
So if you want to send that, send that over, we can do that. We could, update that as needed.
Great.
And if I may, just looking at this rendering that's up on the screen right now, just by eye looking at it, proportionally speaking, I believe that is probably more than a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of height versus width. It looks a little bit longer just as it's rendered, which is sort of a happy accident. If you just so I would say that if I were to take a guess, I would say that that's probably closer to 2 feet by 5 feet in terms of just the proportions that are in that rendering. This is, renderings are it's more art than science. So it's very possible that this is actually a little bit closer to what it's actually going to look like, especially if you flip to the 2x4 diagram, which is, you can see that it's more squat compared to that rendering.
So is it going to be 2x6 on each side, or 2x6 period?
2x6 on each side.
Okay.
They're just going to be longer than what they show here. So.
Correct.
Right.
And we can get that back out to you as soon as possible. I don't know, Sergey, did you prepare these, or did Mike?
Mike did.
Yeah, I'll have Mike get you something out. Most likely he could possibly, if he's in tomorrow, he can have it for us tomorrow, I'm sure.
I'm not seeing or hearing any real opposition to your proposal. So we'll look for those banners then so they'll be up sometime within the next month then, you think?
Yes, we were waiting for this meeting to authorize to go into fabrication for them. We wanted to make sure we could, number one, get your approval so we can live within our approval from the art commission. It said, we had to get dam approval also. And then we would cut loose the fabrication on a 2x6. And that would probably take a couple weeks. So we would most likely get these up sometime towards the end of October, keep them up for our 15-day period, and then would add 5 months onto that. I'm sorry, we would add 11 months onto that. I'm assuming though, if they'll give us another full 12, fine. It's not that important to us, because again, it's more event driven on when these will be put up and taken down. We're going to do it with our own. One of the things in the application was they wanted a maintenance plan. We have a 20-foot lift in the library we use on our property, so we will maintain anything that gets tore up. If someone defaces it, tears it up, tears it down, the wind shreds it, we'll make sure we take them down. We like to keep the property neat and tidy out front.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, thanks for squeezing us in. I know we came in late.
Sure thing. It's nice to
Thank
see
you.
Take care, one.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So those were our two official presentations. I wanted to make one announcement. There's that wasn't on our list of announcements. We can circulate this in our e-newsletter that's coming out and on social media and on our website, but we do have, the city is holding meetings about the changes to the residential permit parking program. So there's a meeting Monday night, October 4th, so this coming Monday at 6 p.m. via Zoom, and then an in-person meeting Tuesday, October 5th at 6 p.m. at the Southside Market House. There's also information, I can put this link in the chat, for information where people can see changes to the ordinance. And we'll put that, like I said, information out on our calendar and get that out to everybody this week. So, so you can participate and add your input and thoughts about for the city's process regarding residential permit parking, which is a big issue for pretty much everybody who lives in Oakland. So, so take a look at that and participate in those meetings. And I believe there's information on the Engage website that at the city. I wanted to pick up a couple of just with the conversation from last week about zoning, and continue to discuss and hear from residents about the process that that we would go through for any zoning changes. And we didn't spend a ton of time at last week's meeting talking about inclusionary zoning and what that is, just because we were running sort of short on time. So we thought we would run through a couple of slides related to that, and have that available as information. So I can run through a couple of slides here, and then if people have questions, we can go through any questions that people have. Inclusionary zoning is a mechanism that we can incentivize or require developers to include affordable housing units in a development that is, in this case here in the one zone that we have, it's 20, if the development would have 20 units or more. And so in Lawrenceville, we actually have in the city of Pittsburgh our first inclusionary zoning in place. So our colleagues in Lawrenceville really engaged in a very robust process to go through community process about advocating and educating and discussing the various ways that this can be structured and how it can work, did a ton of analysis about all the different kinds of ordinances like this that we would find in other cities, worked closely with city planning on a pilot ordinance that had been in place as a temporary overlay in the Lawrenceville neighborhoods. And it just recently this summer was made permanent, and actually has so far, even just in that short amount of time, actually there have been projects that have triggered that requirement. So the way that it works is that 10% of the units are affordable if the development includes 20 or more apartments. So next slide. And here in Oakland, we would really have a significant need for affordable housing. We at OPDC are an affordable housing developer. We build and manage affordable housing. And we have a huge wait list for the units at our new development, Oakland Affordable Living. And also there's been a lot of research through a variety of agencies and task forces. This one that we cite here, the Affordable Housing Task Force really documented the deficit that we have across the city for housing that's affordable. And it's just, it's a our neighborhood is very high priced and full of pressure in the marketplace, and it's just a huge need being so close to transportation and jobs. So it's a high priority for us at OPDC around an equity agenda in development. Next slide. We also can identify that the Oakland plan, the draft recommendations on the Engage PGH site that has recommendations for the Oakland plan, we're really happy to see that those recommendations include inclusionary zoning as a recommendation, include prioritizing affordable housing as part of development projects, and also recommends value capture mechanisms, maybe even that might go beyond inclusionary zoning. There might be other mechanisms that we could put in place to leverage new investment to support community goals, such as job training programs, local hiring, and certainly affordable housing and other public space improvements. The zoning proposal and any of the plans that you might see put forth currently by Walnut Capital include none of these high priorities for the Oakland community. So we thought we would just kind of revisit and go through a little bit of that, because that was something that we didn't get to last meeting. We don't really have a lot of other slides for that tonight, but wanted to hear if people had questions or had thoughts about that, or just generally a thumbs up on inclusionary zoning and equity in development. We'd love to hear from you on that. So we do have a question, Elena. Yeah, I would agree. So the question in the chat is, that there is the ordinance that was written by Walnut Capital's attorney, submitted to the mayor, and then the mayor introduced that bill to city council, completely absent of any legitimate public process from public agencies like their own planning department, proposes a new public realm district. But again, as we talked about last week, if you look at the purpose statements that was, actually in the zoning code today for the public realm districts that we have in place, it really does talk about the intention of really helping to address and protect lower density or lower intensity uses from those neighboring higher intensity uses as a purpose of the zoning district. And not surprisingly, the ordinance that was drafted by a private developer's attorney really doesn't take that into consideration. Again, it was not written by anybody, any public servant, it was written by a private development entity with their own, presumably their own interests in mind, their own monetary gain. So you can really tell the difference. And yeah, I'd say that's an issue, certainly, with that proposal that we would want people to point out as they're talking to their city council representative about that particular proposal. I'm only getting part of this next one in a chat. I'm not able to quite. Is this your question, Elena, about an iPod?
I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of what we were promised. The, prior to a neighborhood plan, they make
an iPod?
An iPod, yes, thank you. So we were,
Yeah.
we were promised an iPod, and then we were told by city planners there wasn't enough time. And so I guess it's a question comment that had that been in place, we might not be where we were with Walnut Capital's plan.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, I think it's not, again, it's not something that's a done deal, right? This is something that we can organize against. And just for those who may not be familiar, an iPod is interim planning overlay district, which has been used in, you know, maybe other communities while they're doing a plan process, or, you know, at different times. You know, it gives you the opportunity to put in place a temporary overlay that says, basically, we're going to kind of hold steady on what's going on in our neighborhood while we have time to plan. And that was something that early on in the Oakland plan process, it was discussed, and residents were in fact supportive of putting an iPod in place, an interim planning overlay district. And unfortunately, that wasn't put in place by city planning. And, you know, we can really see a reason why we do need that. You know, we do need to go through the process as a community of the planning effort, really identify the vision and where zoning, we'd like to see zoning changed, and, you know, where areas that we would like to see you know, still preserved for, you know, the integrity of the housing stock and neighborhood areas that we have, and what areas could we see potentially some potential new development or some zoning changes. But again, we'd like to see that in, you know, incorporating mechanisms that can actually leverage resources for affordable housing, job training programs, youth development, and those kind of community priorities that really support the needs in the neighborhood. At this point, I think, you know, advocating for an iPod is, you know, we're close now to actually having recommendations in place. But it was definitely very unfortunate that that was not something that was put in place while we were doing the plan. And yeah, it's, you know, it's something that I think in Uptown, they've at different times, you know, also had, you know, iPods have been used even, you know, in different places, and it is a useful tool. So I agree in other communities, Elena's saying in Hazelwood and the Hill. So it does seem, makes you wonder why Oakland was, why it wasn't put in place for our planning process. I would encourage everyone to continue watching closely our website. We'll be issuing, you know, new information, updated information as we have it for you, new statements and analysis of, you know, additional information, and really encourage everybody to go to the Engage PGH website and, you know, provide comments and input as part of that process. We as OPDC will be doing that on some of the recommendations on the development section. We don't see a lot of really specific zoning recommendations there. There's some that are quite vague, and we'll be talking with city planning about you know, looking for recommendations that are more specific that we could then bring to the community for more input. And And there's a question about 10% of beds or apartments, and it's actually of apartments. It's not based on beds. I mean, we can set it up however we want, but it's really for, making sure that regular working people who are lower wealth workers have an opportunity to be have a place, good quality place to live in our community. I don't understand that question about 33 bedrooms and 3 one-bedrooms. The math, it's not adding up for me there. Oh, you mean that would be 10%? Probably we'd have to look at the ordinance, whether, how specifically the ordinance is written. It might be comparable unit sizes. That would be certainly something that we could put into the ordinance for Oakland. And the next step in combating SP, I don't exactly know what you mean. So there's a couple of different things that it's not an SP that's been entered as a piece of legislation at the city. It's a text amendment for zoning that would be a new Oakland Public Realm zoning district. And we are, the current process or status of that is that it's at standing committee at City Council, which actually the Standing Committee on Land Use and Economic Development meets tomorrow morning. It's a City Council committee. So they will be meeting. They could decide that this is, so problematic in terms of its process that they do not want to see it moving forward in any way. They can't take an action on that ordinance themselves. Requires planning commission action. So we'll see what occurs and be able to let everybody know on our website the status of that. And in terms of a plan that is being put forth by Walnut Capital, I'd say, again, it's the pretty pictures and stuff that you see really has there's no real, it's not a project that's coming forward in any kind of way at this point. So we're really keeping our eye very close on the City Council action that occurs at the committee tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If there's no further input, again, we'll keep everybody up to date as we know more, and can always call us or email us with questions, and we'll have up-to-date information on our website as a resource for everyone. So we will definitely be staying in close touch on this. So thank you all for attending tonight. We appreciate it. The projects that were presented, the information for that will be on our website. The recording and the meeting notes will be available. And here's all the information of where to find other information on social media and on our website. So I think we'll conclude. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And we'll conclude the meeting. Thank you.